Some things in life are not worth arguing with. These oftentimes are non-negotiables. There are some people in your life that you shouldn't be giving influence to. You shouldn't allow them to have influence over you. You shouldn't be managing certain habits. There's some things that you just need to delete, like we talked about in the last video. And in chapter 26 of Proverbs, God is saying, get rid of all foolishness before it destroys you. Here we go. Let's read through the chapter. Like snow in summer or rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a fool. Like a sparrow in its flitting, like a swallow in its flying, a curse that is causeless does not alight. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the back of fools. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest you be like him yourself. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. Whoever sends a message by the hand of a fool cuts off his own feet and drinks violence. Like a lame man's legs, which hang useless, is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Like one who binds the stone in the sling is one who gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn that goes up into the hand of a drunkard is a proverb in the mouth of fools. Like an archer who wounds everyone is one who hires a passing fool or a drunkard. Like a dog that returns to his vomit is a fool who repeats his folly. Do you see a man who is wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him. The sluggard says, there is a lion in the road. There is a lion in the streets. As a door turns on its hinges, so does a sluggard on his bed. The sluggard buries his hand in the dish. It wears him out to bring it back to his mouth. The sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly. Whoever meddles in a quarrel not his own is like one who takes a passing dog by the ears. Like a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death is a man who deceives his neighbor and says, I am only joking. For lack of wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no whisper, quarreling ceases. As charcoal to hot embers and wood to fire, so is a quarrelsome man for kindling strife. The words of a whisperer are like delicious morsels. They go down into the inner parts of the body. Like the glaze covering an earthen vessel are fervent lips with an evil heart. Whoever hates disguises himself with his lips and harbors deceit in his heart. When he speaks graciously, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred be covered with deception, his wickedness will be exposed in the assembly. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and a stone will come back on him who starts it rolling. A lying tongue hates its victims, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Welcome back to our Proverbs Bible study. We are in chapter 26 today, and beginning the chapter, we read a lot about fools. And chapter 26 is talking about fools not in a derogatory way or a name-calling way, but more so in a deeper and more spiritual sense. These are individuals that have rejected God's truth. They reject common sense. They reject God's principles and his wisdom. And Solomon is saying here to be cautious, be discerning about who these people are, and be careful. Don't put a fool into a position of honor in your own life or in authority or in any kind of influence. Now, this may be a little difficult if you think that your boss at work is a fool. Obviously, you have to submit to that authority figure over you in that position in order to keep your job. However, in the spaces that you do have that control or that authority, that influence, you should opt to not allow those people to speak or have influence in your life. The people that you hang out with, the circle of influence, those individuals should be ones that are able to build you up and pour into you and not speak negatively or bring you down, essentially. Sometimes foolishness can present itself in a wise manner or a very intelligent or a smart manner. That doesn't necessarily mean that wisdom comes from God. It could just be life experience and what they believe is true or right. And oftentimes we can kind of see a little bit of a contradiction between them being able to speak a certain wise saying or a certain way of life, but then their actions say a completely different thing. They may say it's really good to be generous, yet they themselves are not very generous. They may espouse taking care of other people, but they themselves don't really take care of other people. And you may ask, Justin, how do I know who is a fool? Well, you'll know them by their fruits. And I promise you, the more time that you spend in God's word and consuming, digesting, praying, and trying to live out the fruits of the Spirit and also these godly principles that we see in Proverbs, the more you'll become very aware of people that you see on TV, your coworkers, the people that have authority over you, family members, friends even. It will become very apparent the difference between those that have a fear of the Lord and that do not reverence or respect God at all. Those that try to live by biblical principles and those that try to live by the ever-changing morality of the world. And we can see here in chapter 26, the folly of the fool and how almost just nonsensical it puts it, like snow in summer or rain in harvest. That doesn't make any sense. It's illogical. So honor is not fitting for a fool. A fool is not going to display honor. They're not going to possess honor. They're not going to possess integrity. What happens if you answer a fool according to his folly? You might become just like him. You surround yourself with those people, you might start to look just like them, and you may give influence and authority to what they say or what they do, as verse 5 puts it here. Like a lame man's legs, which hang useless, is a proverb in the mouth of a fool. That's how serious Solomon is putting it here. And also, when you give honor to a fool, it's like putting the stone in the sling of the fool. You are putting value, you are putting stock into what they say or what they do. And it's important to be very cautious and very careful of that. Like a dog that returns to his vomit is a fool who repeats his folly. Kind of the clearest way that to exemplify this is a repeat of habits, a repeat of patterns that we as humans are so drawn to do through the fleshly desires. And it makes us foolish before the Lord and before the world, especially those of us that claim to be Christ followers, but continue to return to those bad habits. We continue to say, I'm not going to delete that. I'm going to reorganize it, reprioritize it, but I'm not going to get rid of it. The challenge here, like in the last video, is to live by the Spirit and live by the fruits of the Spirit and not according to the flesh. The more that you do that, the more you'll become very aware of those that are actively seeking to look like Christ and those that are actively returning to their folly. They're returning to the vomit, just like a dog is. Verse 12, do you see a man who is wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than him. Wow, we've built several verses here talking about foolishness and fools and just like how bad it is. I can't really think of another way to say it that's not derogatory, but just the severeness of continuing in the way of folly and foolishness. There's more hope for a fool than someone that is wise in his own eyes. And I pray that God reveals to me, as I've done in the past, ways that I've considered myself basically smarter than God, more intelligent than God, wiser than God, thinking that I had all the right answers. And we can really kind of see that in the world right now. I definitely can see it, especially on social media. But the first step in fear of the Lord and living according to godly principles and according to wisdom and not foolishness is surrender, submission, and humility, saying, I am not wise in my own eyes. I have a useless mind. As Romans 1 talks about, it is depraved, it is degenerate. Who am I? Let us continue to seek after Christ's likeness and not assume or think that we are right in our own eyes, no matter what it is throughout our lives. May I never be again so arrogant to say that I know more or better than God. And then the chapter shifts to sluggardness, to laziness, which we've hit quite a bit throughout this Bible study. It's a huge warning throughout Proverbs because it can be really easy to be lazy. It's very easy to want to just hit that snooze button on the clock. And there's some times where that is necessary and you got to listen to your body. Yes, there's exceptions. However, it's something that can be done in excess. And the Bible, Proverbs, it warns against that. The sluggard says, there is a lion in the road. There's a lion in the streets. As a door turns on its hinges, so does a sluggard on his bed. The sluggard buries his hand in the dish. It wears him out so much that he doesn't even want to bring it back to his mouth. The sluggard justifies. They make excuses. But wisdom, however, brings us to a diligent spirit, someone that is willing to work, to be diligent, to endeavor. And it's also kind of interesting to see, like, as we've gone through this study, how a lot of these things that the Proverbs warn about or warn against, they are very interconnected. It's almost like one can so very easily lead to the next. Laziness can lead to this pride and arrogance. It can be associated with kind of the haughty spirit and the wise in your own eyes type thinking. But in contrast, the fruits of the Spirit, those are interweaved as well. I believe through love, we are able to possess peace. And when we have peace, we're able to possess love and joy and patience and kindness and gentleness and goodness and faithfulness and self-control. All of those things are very much kind of a part of the same system. And the last section is kind of a plethora of different things, from gossip to lying to maliciousness to just conflict and hatred in your heart. Like the glaze covering an earthen vessel are fervent lips with an evil heart. Whoever hates disguises himself with his lips and harbors deceit in his heart. There's kind of like this old joke or old saying that goes, something like, how do you know if a politician is lying? His lips are moving. And yeah, maybe there's some truth to that. I don't know. But the principle remains, and it is kind of what Proverbs is talking about right here. The lips do a really good job of covering up all sorts of lies and deceits and untruths. The warning is, though hatred is covered through his lies and deceits, his heart will eventually be revealed. What's in the heart is going to come out. And in association with that is the last verse, which says, a lying tongue hates its victims. So that hatred, the lying tongue, that's all one and the same. And a flattering mouth works ruin. Foolishness, hatred, a lying tongue, gossip, conflict, all of these things are very much interweaved. We can see that here in chapter 26. How do we avoid this stuff? How do we work out our salvation? And we continue to pursue Christ-likeness, and we avoid these things. Read the Bible. Read through Proverbs every single day. Study, pray, ask for wisdom, submit yourself, surrender, and have a heart of humility, not a heart that says, I'm wise in my own eyes, I know better than God. Let me tell you right now, you don't. I can't look at the sky and think about the vastness of the universe and the distance it is to the edge of the universe, or not even to the edge of the universe, but to the nearest star, 4.2 light years away, and just how big it is and how little I am. But to think that I got a leg up on the guy that created everything, I don't know. The more I'm studying this stuff, the more I'm like, okay, hold up a second. We don't know what we're doing here. Lord, you're going to have to come and take the wheel and show me what to do, where you want me to go, because what I'm doing ain't working. It ain't it. Well, I hope this was of encouragement to you. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. Reach out to me on Instagram, and we'll see you tomorrow in chapter 27.